Welcome back to Our Healer, Our Protector with Ryan Reichert and
Lisa Sander.
Hey guys, super great to be back on another Tuesday with you. And I don't know, where are we going?
Where are we going? That is a good question. How about let's reflect on when healing means letting go. Healing after realizing love shouldn't hurt. There's a couple of things I want to reflect on. The question people might ask is, what was the turning point to getting a divorce? Why is it so hard to admit when the vows hurt? I guess my question is, this is a hard question.
Just ask it.
Would have you ever left if you weren't asked to leave?
Probably not. Well, I say it a lot, like loyal to a fault, right? Like, I mean, I talk about boundaries. I coach about boundaries, but like if I was to think 2 years ago, like, yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I don't. I mean, I think it's one where I would always look at like fixing what's broken, kind of thing, and finding a way to fix what's broken. So it's a hard one, like now if we continue to play out longer or further or whatever that looks like, then that might be a different story. But like from what I know and what happened, I also, like, if told to do something, I normally do it. So I guess I did it where, you know.
Another question, and we never know, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes a divorce can be a blessing, even if it's not mutually for both people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you became sober.
Yeah, I mean, I think in itself, I mean, sober, like many lies on both sides of the street. But yeah, sober, then like go through it all. I guess that's the dynamics too, that people, like, no one can see the future. So what does that look like? Understanding, just like you said, to me, when I reflect on it today, like in healing, I don't dwell on any of it because I know I'm right where I'm supposed to be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, I guess, at this stage of it. Like when you finally heal, you know that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And, I don't know where tomorrow is supposed to take me, but I'll figure it out when tomorrow comes, if tomorrow comes.
Yeah. In your stages, do you feel like it all of a sudden happened, or was it throughout time?
So, I mean, I look at it like two different ways when I think about like projecting things into existence and manifestation. Who I was once married to would threaten in a fight, well, we'll just get divorced. And I think just like anything else, like Bruce Lee, right? Like, you're casting spells if you speak in a negative way. Mm-hmm. Just like if you speak in a positive way, you're, positive spells. It wouldn't be a spell then, I guess, if it was positive. But I think in that's the way I reflect on it, is seeing or hearing that, like that puts you in a place where, as I reflect on it, like of fear, and it's almost like shaming an animal with whatever's going on, or threatening an animal, or maybe threatening your kids. So you threaten your spouse. That to that end for me is one where when I look at it, it's like you speak that into existence. So one day that will happen. And
so it's interesting because you came from that. So I came from the D word was never brought up.
Right.
And it was to not be brought up. When I reflect back, I was 6 years into my marriage, and the things that happened in my marriage, vows were broken. Mm-hmm. And I stayed.
Right.
I stayed, 15 years longer because I respected my vows, and you have your ups and downs, which we are told. It is really hard once vows are broken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you stayed in probably a shorter version than I did when that started coming up I stayed 15 years longer
Right.
and gave it my best. So it's interesting not bringing up the word and bringing up the word.
I think the dynamics that I would look at more so than anything else is where you'll continue to move forward. You know, I just think of like being here in Arizona and knowing that we're going to run a retreat, but I got to have my daughter come visit. Same in the same token, moving forward through the divorce and vows being broken, using the D word, not using the D word. It's just part of the dance, you know. It's like it's like the waltz. It's like one of those things where you just like, you know, you dance to the music. One leads, one follows, and then whatever that looks like, it becomes just what is. And through that, I mean, you can take the road that takes you through bitterness and, you know, so on and so forth, or you can, you know, heal and self-reflect and build yourself back into the person you once were. And that to me is where I think how I look at it, how I reflect on it. And if I was telling anyone else out there, is like, you know, persevere, you're going to get through whatever it is. I would say if you're the one using the D word, like, don't stop. Like, because it's inevitable that it'll happen.
It all comes down to communication.
Yeah.
Like when I think about my vows being broken, as my child was 6 years old and I had grace inside of me, I wanted to go to therapy. And he made it through one session, maybe two, and I kept going and he did not. And when you are in denial and you don't talk about the problem and you ignore it, moving on. I mean, I also did. I tried to push him to talk about things and he didn't. And then I reverted to keeping him safe and not myself safe. So I didn't talk about it and just wanted him to feel loved and whole. And then I left myself empty with that. And I just tried fixing the holes throughout the next 15 years.
Right. I mean, I think that's the side, though, when I reflect on it all today and think of times, I mean, that would probably be the more woman, mother thing to do, right? Like to fix it. Man, it'd be like, you know, like, well, I'll fix it, but, you know, what does that really look like? And yeah, we're not good at like sharing our feelings or communicating. You know, it's not something that is really taught, you know, being vulnerable. I mean, I always enjoy that now, hearing that from people like, thank you for being so vulnerable. And I'm like, I'm just talking about it. But I get that now. I understand, like, as men, like, you know, we're not supposed to talk about our feelings, right? Like, that's just what society.
That's what we need to change.
That's what I'm saying is society expects that. And now it's like, no, I'm going to tell you how I feel. And it doesn't mean that like it's a demeaning way or hurtful way or trying to hurt someone else by bringing it up. It's just, this is what I have inside of me. And, you know, God gave me a voice, so I'm using it in a way that would, you know, try to help others out there listening and watching and knowing that like we all go through things that hurt and are painful, and there's light at the end of the tunnel, and how we get through it and how we learn, you know, from the process that just happens. And just like you, like, it was a long, painful, arduous process, but it has like, you know, beauty in it as well, and rebirth and so on and so forth. And then, you know, you have this other side where it's like, you know, it's quick, but then it's also painful at the same time, going through other sides of it and realizing where you see how each person heals and how each person rises from the ashes or doesn't, you know, and what does that really look like? I always like hearing that today now. And I guess maybe I understand it better. It's like the glow up, like post, you know, relationship, breakup, whatever, divorce, whatever it is that you're going through. And everyone has their story, right? Like there's your story, there's my story, and there's the truth. But like when it comes to like a glow up, you see the truth, right? Like you see that the light that was taken from one and, you know, bandaged in the other for however long, And then as I reflect on things today, like I can go like, oh, I get it. Like, for me, it's all about like, if I'm to be my best self, like someone needs to be in my corner and, like
Yeah.
can't be getting torn down every single day to move forward, to grow, to build something. And, when I look at you, it's to stop taking on the masculine and being the provider and the protector. It's like you're the nurturer, like, not that a nurse isn't, the protector and provider, but like the true nurturing side of that. And I think that gets back to the vows that we speak of, when it comes to a courtship, to a covenant in a relationship, in such a way that you take on those roles. And if anything's going to change, there needs to be a renegotiation so that for all parties understand that like, oh, we've shifted what this looks like. Can we maintain it? So therefore it doesn't destroy us.
That's why it is so important, like every 2 months to sit down with each other, or 3 months, whatever that may be, because a month goes by really fast, and negotiate where you're at in your relationship. How is it looking spiritually, financially, physically? Are we meeting all of that to grow together? I like what you said about the masculine and feminine, because for me, I wanted to be feminine, and I wasn't put in a place to be feminine. I was put in a place to be masculine. And that took a toll on our marriage.
I don't know what comes after that, because 4 years seems like a long time to do something, whatever. But like, you know what I mean? How about this? Every 4 days you go on a date. Every 4 weeks, like you go on a weekend getaway. And every 4 months, like you go, like you need to reflect on, like, just like you said, it's kind of like if you were to look at it a business, which I know as a man, like, every week I think of a battle rhythm in the military, and it's like, on Mondays, maintenance Monday in the motor pool. So all the vehicles are, squared away, like, X, Y, and Z. So like, there's a training meeting, like every other week there's a command and staff. And like, you're going through all the things that keep a unit, a well-oiled machine, through its personnel, through its training, through all the things that need to happen, logistics and support. And that's no different in a relationship, especially the relationship that keeps the family running.
Yeah.
Like
kids.
Yeah.
The extended family. And to be a good example, it's crazy when you think about it. We put more into our work than our love to our family. We put more into work. We show up on time at work. We leave on time at work. We take our breaks, and we don't do that with our own family.
I think back, for me, I was always like, what's the next rank? What's the next duty station? What's all these things? And I remember, like, when it came to money, like very, very, like, the wallet was tightened up. If it wasn't a necessity, we don't need to do it. And my father-in-law passed away like 6 weeks after he retired. And, it was so cool because I was in a position, the job I was in, my boss let me take 6 weeks off from work to help out around the farm and everything else. And reflecting on that, for me, that changed my outlook on work. And from the perspective of like, we started to vacation more as a family. We started to put more towards the family, and just knowing that, yeah, like he died 6 weeks after he retired. He worked 40 plus years. And, 6 weeks after that, it's gone. I suspect, there's at times when you reflect on all of that, like, wow, was there any times that, we could have done it differently? Well, I think it's the same way now, this second time around, this second chance for me, the second relationship, the how the kids, like, and like grandkids one day, like, how are you going to carry yourself? Like, I just think of myself like, okay, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, like tobacco, no, all the different things that I used to do that were detrimental to like my execution as a human, let alone the man who's supposed to protect and provide for the family, to be that, the North Star of the family, right? The father. Today, that's just one of those that now I know I can do that again. And I will do that again. And that in itself is what families need to do. You know, you men out there with your partner, your spouse, whomever that is, it's putting the work in to, just like we said, if it's every 4 days, like, you know, taking, you know, your spouse, your partner, your whomever out to, you know, so they don't have to cook and someone else can watch the kids. If it's, you know, grandpa, grandma, aunts, uncles, babysitters, whomever, like you give up that control and go out, enjoy each other, have a real conversation again for once. You know?
And surprise them so the wife doesn't have to, like, you make the plans, but then they got to call the people to set up to babysit
Yes.
or watch the animals. If you could do that.
Be a man. Be a man. Like, we make huge decisions all day long, corporate environment, work environment, whatever that looks like. And you tell me you can't pick out a restaurant, like, you know, can't open a car door. Well, I mean, whatever that looks like, you know, we can do better, you know. We will do better. It is, when it comes to other stuff, if you can't make it because you're afraid that your spouse is going to be judgmental on you, that because you picked the Holiday Inn or whatever versus the Radisson or I don't know, whatever under the sun, you know, have that conversation with them. So the expectation, what's the saying go? Reality minus expectations equals happiness. Well, you have to have that communication with your partner to go like, all right, like, our budget is X, like,
Yeah, and that's why I chose this.
yeah. And so, and go like, wow, they tried. They tried.
Yeah.
Might not have been your expectations, but what did I just say? Reality minus expectations equals happiness.
Well, even a picnic in the backyard with candles and you just have a babysitter in the house for a couple hours and to make that special moment. And I also want to talk about, like, as a woman, what we can do differently is being the cheerleader and being in their corner and allowing them to talk about their frustrations and stuff. And us women, it's hard to be quiet, and allowing quietness to reflect on what they're saying. I've gotten better, but I still have to work on that. And actually, I'm still working on it with my former spouse, because there's times we have to communicate because of the kids. And I want answers now. I want reflection now and be validated. And that's another thing, like, when you're dealing with your former spouse, like, if you didn't get it before, you're not going to get it now. So you have to reel in your expectations of what you want out of that. But like us moving forward into our relationship to do better than our last, like, everyone needs to reflect. And what is life all about? Like, enjoy life. And remember, the person that you love is not to be the person, like, you don't want to be the person to hurt the person that you love. That's supposed to be your best friend.
I was just thinking one thing also, though, as men, we like to fix things, solve problems, and like,
Absolutely.
from a woman's perspective, they just need us to listen. And if we do believe we just have to solve the problem or we have to fix something, ask, would you like me to listen? Would you like me to fix or
Yes.
solve this problem?
Yes.
More than likely, they just want you to listen.
Yeah.
That's why they have girlfriends, because the girlfriends will just listen to them. They, you know, another woman will not try to solve the problem. And I think that's probably what you're getting back at with your previous relationship, is that in your masculine, though, like, you're still operating in that, trying to solve or fix
I
a
want
problem.
to fix and solve everything at the moment.
Yeah.
And that also comes from my childhood of wanting peace in the room, and me fixing it or solving it right now, then we can be at peace and we can move on. What I also like to, a little tidbit before we sign off, is when you are with your partner, whether it be your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, whatever that may be, when you are reflecting and talking to each other, remember to ask, do you want my opinion, or what do you say, or do you want me to just listen?
Yeah.
That's being respectful.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's like being a coach, right? Like,
Yeah.
as a coach,
Yeah.
like, would you like some coaching, you know, like a coaching moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's the same in your relationship, like, right? Like, we all can look at it from that side. And it's like, do you want some constructive criticism? Do you want the solution to the problem? And ask, because what's the saying or whatever? You should ask, not task.
Oh, I like it. And going off that, we are going to end with letting you know to subscribe, share. We will take opinions. We want to hear what people want to talk about. We're going to have some more guests on our podcast that will, we do that so we can get other people's opinions and their examples. And we wish all you the best. And if you need help in your life and you just need someone to listen to, you can get Ryan at
ourprotectordevelopment.com.
And I'm lisasander.com.
So just like Lisa said, subscribe, like, and share, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye. Have a great week.
Love y'all.